Imagine you're lying in bed at 2 a.m., phone inches from your face, scrolling through an endless river of hot takes, half-funny memes, and strangers' confessions. Your timeline is crammed with people, but the room feels colder and emptier than ever. Statistics say we're the most connected generation in history, yet surveys show levels of loneliness climbing everywhere, from New York to Nairobi, from Tokyo to Tangier. That paradox is the beating heart of today's story. To understand why we can feel so isolated while surrounded by glowing avatars, we're reaching back 160 years to meet a Russian novelist who understood isolation better than any algorithm ever could, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky survived a mock firing squad, 4 years in a Siberian labor camp, chronic epilepsy, and mountains of gambling debt. Out of that suffering, he produced novels that dig deep into the human soul. Crime and Punishment, The Brothers Karamazov, and the slim but ferocious Notes from Underground. In his pages, people wrestle with guilt, crave recognition, and sabotage their own happiness. Reading him is like staring into a psychological X-ray. If you want to know what loneliness sounds like at 3 a.m., before electricity, Wi-Fi, or push notifications, open Dostoevsky. His characters were doom-scrolling their own thoughts long before we invented the feed. In Notes from Underground introduces an unnamed narrator known simply as the Underground Man. He lives in a shabby St. Petersburg apartment, isolated, angry, convinced that society misunderstands him. He rants into a void where no one can answer back. He despises other people, but desperately wants their approval. Sound familiar? Swap the quill for a phone, and you've met the modern anonymous commenter, the lurker on Reddit, the burner account troll whispering into the algorithm. Dostoevsky predicted a personality that thrives in shadowed corners, half craving connection, half terrified of real intimacy. In 1864, the underground was metaphorical. In 2025, it's literal. Under lit screens, under bed covers, under layers of curated identity. Scroll any platform and you'll spot echoes of the underground man's voice. The sarcastic tweet that masks insecurity, the cynical meme hiding genuine hurt, the long comment thread where everyone shouts yet nobody truly hears. Online spaces promise infinite audience, but the algorithm ranks outrage higher than nuance. The result? Loud loneliness. We perform, we posture, we refresh, hoping a shower of likes will feel like love. Dostoevsky would nod grimly. External validation can't fill the internal void. The underground man learned that after every resentful monologue, he was still alone. Our notifications may buzz louder, yet the silence afterward feels the same. Dostoevsky believed a mask reveals as much as it hides. In the digital world, anonymity can liberate us to speak honestly, or tempt us into cruelty without consequence. The underground man changes tone depending on his imaginary audience. We do the same with alt accounts or finely filtered selfies. Behind each post lurks the question Dostoevsky posed: who am I when no one's watching? And who am I pretending to be? Online, the distance between those two selves widens until we barely recognize our reflections. We are performers in a borderless theater, but the applause is algorithmic, the stage ever shifting, and the dressing room still lonely. In Notes from Underground, the narrator admits he clings to suffering because it gives him identity. Swap diaries for timelines, and the habit persists. Doom-scrolling is self-inflicted pain, tragedy after scandal after outrage, updated 60 times a minute. Physicians warn it spikes cortisol. Philosophers warn it numbs empathy. Dostoevsky would say it's spiritual self-harm, a way to feel alive through negativity. Like Raskolnikov pacing his tiny room, we pace digital corridors, feeding agitation. Each refresh is a hammer blow on the bruise, painful, but proving we still feel something. When the screen finally dims, we're left, like Dostoevsky's heroes, exhausted and empty-handed. One of Dostoevsky's eeriest insights is that you can feel most alone inside a crowd. Raskolnikov drifts through bustling Petersburg markets, yet speaks to almost no one. Today, we drift through virtual throngs of millions. Paradoxically, mass connectivity makes intimacy rarer, Quick emojis replace deep conversation. Group chats replace late-night walks. Looping stories erase the spaces where silence once invited confession. Sociologists call it ambient intimacy, continuous partial awareness without real closeness. Dostoevsky would call it a banquet of appearances served cold. We know everyone's highlight reel, yet almost nothing about their 3 a.m. doubts. The city is louder, the network denser, but the soul still whispers unheard. If the underground man's apartment was a self-chosen cell, our algorithms are invisible prison guards tailoring the bars. Every like refines the cage, show more rage, more fear, more tribal comfort. Dostoevsky warned that people desire freedom yet cling to chains because chains are familiar. Today, our curated feeds flatter our biases and dull our curiosity. We think we're exploring the world but may just be pacing a personalized loop. Dostoevsky's characters love to rationalize their confinement. So do we. When asked why we keep scrolling, we shrug. It's just how things are. The first step out of the underground is seeing the bars. Dostoevsky never leaves his characters in pure despair. He offers fragile escape routes: confession, compassion, shared suffering. When Sonia listens to Raskolnikov, her empathy begins his redemption. Translate that to 2025. True DM conversations instead of performative posts, voice calls instead of silent likes, volunteering offline where hands grip hands. Studies show even brief face-to-face encounters lower loneliness more than hours online. Dostoevsky would urge us to risk messy, embodied relationships, precisely what algorithms can't monetize. It's uncomfortable, unpredictable, but also transformative. The antidote to digital loneliness isn't deleting every app. It's choosing moments of genuine presence that puncture the screen's anesthesia. Try a 7-day underground audit. Each night, write 1 page, pen and paper, about the day's strongest emotion. Dostoevsky's heroes discover truth through self-scrutiny, and handwriting slows thought enough to notice feelings algorithms skip. Next, schedule 1 conversation without screens in sight. Coffee with a friend, walk with family. Risk awkward pauses. They're gateways to honesty. Finally, curate your feed like a bookshelf. Follow voices that challenge you, not just mirror you. Algorithmic cages weaken when variety floods in. These small acts echo Dostoevsky's belief that the path from isolation to connection is paved with truthful words, shared vulnerability, and deliberate attention. Loneliness, Dostoevsky teaches, can be a compass pointing toward what matters. The underground man's agony signals his yearning for authentic contact. Instead of numbing that signal with infinite scroll, treat it as a call. Philosopher Paul Tillich defined loneliness as the absence of a significant other, but solitude as the presence of oneself. Dostoevsky's finest moments blur the line, turning isolation into introspection that precedes genuine relationship. Your late-night loneliness could spark the question, whom do I need to forgive? Whom can I serve? Reflection without action calcifies. Action without reflection scatters. Dostoevsky's path is both. Feel deeply, then step toward another soul. So are we all underground men, doomed to rant into glowing voids, only if we choose to stay beneath the surface. Dostoevsky's novels insist that even the darkest cell has a door, one that opens inward first, then outward toward others. Tonight, when the feed tempts you to scroll into numbness, pause. Hear the echo of a 19th century voice asking, do you want to live in truth or in algorithms? Then lift your eyes, from screen to sky, from avatar to actual face. Loneliness may still visit, but it won't be your master. Step out of the digital underground. The world, messy and magnificent, is waiting.